history of Mario, the history of Mario, the history of Mario. Mario! Super Mario! Where would gaming be without him? Probably in a ditch with thousands of copies of E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Mario is one of the most iconic game characters, and has a rich history full of classics, revolutions, and some real stinkers in between.
So join us for the most extensive history video we've ever done. The complete history
of
Super Mario!
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Donkey Kong, 1981. Mario made his debut appearance, not as a hero, but as a villain in Donkey Kong.
No, Dexter, he was a hero. Get your facts straight before you talk.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Nintendo this time were a card company struggling to enter the video game market.
Shigeru Miyamoto, a small employee at the time, was tasked with making a game that could grant Nintendo success.
He did just that with Donkey Kong.
A game that popularized the platform genre and caused Miyamoto to power up to the top.
Donkey Kong Jr. 1982. In this sequel, Donkey Kong is captured, and it's up to his son to rescue him from Mario.
In this game, you play as Donkey Kong Jr. instead, climbing vines, jumping on platforms, and collecting juicy fruit. Yum.
It was a fun little game, with many declaring it better than the original Donkey Kong. Mario Bros. 1983.
After 2 years with the Grizzly Ape, Nintendo decided to dump him and gave Mario the complete spotlight.
The game involved defeating crabs and Koopas that came out of pipes, and you could play either alone or with a friend as Mario's identical-looking brother, Luigi.
The game was very successful, selling 1.63 million copies on the NES, and even got a clone on the Amiga called Duty.
Donkey Kong 3, 1983. Donkey Kong became the villain once more and battles Stanley, a bugman.
The game received mostly negative reviews due to it being a drastic departure from the previous games, as it played more like a fixed shooter than a platformer.
Due to its muted release, Stanley was never seen again, except as a trophy in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Saturday Supercade, 1983. Mario made his animated debut on Saturday mornings with a cartoon produced by Ruby Spear Productions.
He starred alongside other gaming heroes such as Frogger, Cubert, and the almighty Pitfall Harry. A bit of trivia for you, Mario was voiced by Optimus Prime.
Mario Bros. Special 1984. Developed by Hudson Soft and released for the NEC PC, Mario Bros. Special was a different take on the same arcade game.
The goal of the original was to defeat all the enemies on each stage, but in this one, the goal was to reach the exit at the top of every level.
Hudson Soft also released another Mario Bros. In the same year with Punch Bowl Mario Bros. This one played similar to its arcade counterpart, but included a new feature known as Punch Bowl.
Super Mario Bros. 1985. This is the point where Mario truly began to shine.
Like a shine sprite.
And delivered what is considered one of the best games ever made.
We think it's dated. The game was a side-scrolling platformer where you jumped across chasms, jumped on Goomba heads, and even jumped on turtles. Pretty much, you did a lot of jumping.
The game introduced Bowser as Mario's arch nemesis, and Princess Peach as Mario's love interest. The game was originally going to include a stage where Mario jumped on a cloud and shot bad guys, but it was cut. The game went on to sell more than 40 million copies worldwide.
Super Mario Bros. Was remade shortly afterwards with different versions. There was Versus Super Mario Bros., an arcade version that included many new levels. There was Super Mario Bros. Special, Hudson Soft's take on the game, and finally the following year, All Night in Napoon Super Mario Bros. This was a special promotional version of the game based off the Japanese radio show All Night in Napoon. The game altered the enemies to look like famous Japanese music idols, and recording artists and DJs.
Wrecking Crew, 1985. A lot of people forget that this is a Mario game, but he is in it, so it is. In this game, Mario must destroy objects with a large hammer to progress through 100 levels and to show Thor how it's done.
For some reason, Mario is unable to jump, and Luigi is purple. Wait, that's not Luigi! What the heck is that?
Throughout the 80s, Mario also released numerous Game & Watch LCD handheld games. These included portable versions of Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros., as well as entirely new ones such as Donkey Kong 2, Donkey Kong Circus, Donkey Kong Hockey, Mario the Juggler, Mario's Bombs Away, and Mario's Cement Factory.
These have become very rare and go for high prices online. So if you have one, you're a lucky bastard. Super Mario Bros. 2, 1986.
Released exclusively in Japan, this sequel was graphically similar to the original but was much, much harder.
Level designs were brutal, power-ups were cruel, such as a poison mushroom, and enemies were far more aggressive.
The game remained exclusive to Japan as it was too hard for Western gamers.
What a bunch of cowards we are.
We are as cowardly as Courage the Cowardly Dog. Famicom Grand Prix F1 Racer, 1987.
Another game released exclusively in Japan. This was a Formula 1 racing game that saw you winning Grand Prix to earn money and buy new cars. This game actually has little to do with Mario except for the fact he's on the cover.
Super Mario Bros. 2, 1988. The Western world finally got their Mario Bros. Sequel, which saw Mario and his now playable companions lift up vegetables and throw them at bad guys.
The game is considered the black sheep of the Mario series because, well, it's not even a real Mario game. This game was originally Doki Doki Panic, and all Nintendo did was to replace the four main characters to those from the Mario series.
Despite this, the game still received strong critical praise and sold 10 million copies.
Which means Shy Guy isn't a Mario character.
Super Mario Bros. 3, 1988. The plumber's third installment pushed the limits of the NES hardware. It featured tons of cool power-ups, fantastic worlds, and a great deal of imagination,
says Dexter Morgan. This game was so big, the film The Wizard was pretty much a 100-minute commercial for the game and helped fuel anticipation for its release.
It went on to sell 18 million copies. However, despite all its praise, Shigeru Miyamoto is embarrassed by it.
And so am I.
Famicom Grand Prix 2 3D Hot Rally, 1988.
The Formula 1 racing game got a sequel, which introduced new features such as the Hot Dash and the Endurance Meter. Mario and his brother Luigi actually appeared in this game, unlike the first one, where they're seen jumping out when they cross the finish line. Super Mario Land, 1989. Mario's debut game for Nintendo's new handheld, the Game Boy, was the first Mario game to have no direct involvement from the series creator
Shigeru Miyamoto. Not that it mattered. Mario Land captured everything you loved about the series and squeezed it onto the tiny Game Boy screen.
It also added 2 shoot-'em-up levels and featured a new damsel in distress called Daisy, and a new villain called Tatanga.
It went on to sell 18 million copies and helped drive the Game Boy's success. Alleyway, 1989. Released on the same day in Japan, Alleyway was a portable clone of the classic arcade game Breakout.
Despite Mario appearing on the cover, he only appears briefly in the game, and it's clear Nintendo just slapped his face on it to sell copies.
Or should that be his back on the cover? It got mostly negative reviews, but some people liked it.
Like you.
Like me.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
1989. Mario jumped into the world of animation, but he already has, and live action with a television series based on his many video game exploits. Mario is played by Lou Albano, a professional Italian-American wrestler, and Luigi was played by the legendary Danny Wells.
The show only lasted one season, but had 65 episodes. Animated spin-offs of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World followed years later. Dr. Mario, 1990. Oh, what a classic. Mario decided to try another profession and became a doctor. But it's clear he doesn't have a degree, as his idea of curing people is throwing pills down their throat.
Still, it was an addictive and fun little puzzle game that gained pretty good reception, except from parents, who were critical of a children's game that included medicine.
NES Open Tournament Golf, 1991. Another case of milking the goat horn, Nintendo decided that no one would buy a boring golf game and put Mario in it to help it sell. And he did just that. Good old Mario.
In the same year Mario went golfing, Sega released their new home console, the Genesis, and with it, a blue blur with more attitude than the squeaky clean plumber.
As Sega started eating Nintendo's market share like Pac-Man, the Magic Makers got to work on their next system, and Mario was going to jump from 8-byte to 16-byte.